Welcome to Uncle Dean's channel. We're here today to do a product review. I am out in the big shop. It is a little cold. We're about -8 out here today. I do have the heat on, but it takes a little bit, but I wanted to get into stuff that I'm doing. So what we've got is we've got the 8-inch bench grinder with light. It's got a 3/4 horsepower induction motor. Heavy duty cast iron base, steel ball bearing, 16 inches wide wheel spread, low vibration design. So this is what we've got. We're going to open the box up and have a nice little close peek at that. It's from Princess Autos, made by PowerFest. So we're going to open this box up, see what's inside. We just picked this up a little while ago. Meaning to get this open and set up. So we're opening the box. See what's inside. So as with all typical things, instruction manual, put that aside. We're men, we don't need that. Yes, we will have a look at the instruction manual. So we have two brackets. These would be called tool rest brackets. We have a little package of screws and bolts and handles and little brackets. We have another piece here. Now this is a cover goes over top of the wheel, helps protect your eyeballs. You should be wearing safety glasses when you're wearing these or when you're using these. Of course, they provide you one for each side. And of course, you know, everybody likes these silica packages. So let's see if we can. Oh boy, okay, so we're going to have to slide this over. Try and turn that upside down to get it out of the box. So, here we go. Two big chunks of styrofoam. Once you get it outside the box. One light, no bulb. Power cords attached. Of course, nicely wrapped over. Got some extra plastic on that. So this here is the 3/4 horse. So then you can take your light and put your light on either grinding wheel. Now, as with all grinders that you will buy of this sort, they will each come with a wheel. You'll have a coarse wheel on one side and a fine wheel on the other. These are obviously different grits. So one is a 60 grit. The other one looks like 30. So you got a 30, this is a 30 grit on this side. This is a 60 grit on this side. You can get different grits. You can get polishing ends. There's a whole bunch of different attachments you can buy for these. I do have polishing wheels, so on and so forth. I'll get into another video working with those things on another day. Today is just the unboxing video. So like I said, the package you get, all the bits and pieces we have in it. Okay, we're now going to assemble the parts. Here we'll see how difficult this is to put together. They don't give you any. Oh, let's have a look. We're going to do this the manly way rather than the ladylike way. So we're going to start with a bottom bracket. Now obviously they go on a very specific way, one for each side, in obvious ways. Take a knife, open the other package. And the packages here, they give you multiple pieces for assembly. So being the smart ass that I am, doing this the manly way, but we'll have a quick look, make sure we put all the screws, everything in the right places, because they did give us many pieces. So, bench grinder assembly. I am actually looking at the instructions. Turn off and unplug the bench grinder. Well, we're unplugged and we are turned off, so good deal. Refer to figure 1. So basically we got the 2 screws go in the bottom. So we're looking at, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the big nuts. We got 2 little nuts. We got 2 brackets. We got 2, 4 of the lock rings. Now, these are called a lock ring for a reason, or a split ring. If you look at that, you can see that the ring actually has a little split in it. That little split and twist to the ring, when you tighten that up, and you tighten that down with the nut, so the nut goes in there and then that squeezes against whatever you're squeezing that against, that'll actually flatten out and stop the nut from coming back out once it's tight. Hence the lock nut. We set these up. And this is pretty much standard whenever you're putting something together. You've got a bolt and you have a flat washer. You put your flat washer on first. So you install the flat washer. Then you install the lock washer on top. Now in this case we're screwing in the first side here. Well, that didn't work out. And we drop the lock washer. So again, we're going to set this up. Your flat washer goes on first. The lock washer goes on second. Now whenever you're threading in a bolt, the threads will have a start to them where it begins to catch. So when you're doing these, sometimes you got to turn that bolt a little bit further to get it to actually lock on. And sometimes what I end up doing is you actually will turn backwards a little bit. Now again, that's in a spot that you really can't see what you're doing. That can become real handy. But what you end up doing is you turn backwards and forward, and you'll actually feel that point where it literally will bump down just a little, and then it falls into place. So that's kind of nice. This here actually gives you a little, this here tool rest actually has a little angle in it so you can get the right, when you're sharpening a drill bit. It actually helps you get the right angle on your drill bit for sharpening drill bits. That's a really nice handy thing to have. Here I am again throwing washers on the floor. Oh, big fire. So when you install these here, now the way I like them is I like to have about a 1/4 inch worth of spacing. And again, you push down on this so that when you tighten them up, because you're going to be pushing your tool down on this as the blade spins by. So this gives you an angle here for grinding, and it gives you an angle over here. So I like a little bit of space in there, but it's because you're going to press down on this when the blade's coming by. So you want to make sure that you've pushed your workpiece down when you put it in there. So now they give you some options here with the eye cover places. So that it'll install this way with the bolts sticking out versus the bolts in. Because if the bolts are in, it's just so much lower to your workpiece. But if you flip it over, just the way it's made, puts you further away from the workpiece. Unless I have the sides wrong. Oh, gotta flip it over. Because they're both the same. So yes, you've got to flip that over the nuts and bolts, the front of this. So you now have a very small nut and flat washer. So we're now going to install our face shields, or our eye shields. It's always good to wear safety glasses, especially when doing grinding. You really don't want stuff in your eyes. But, you know, I've been doing this for so long, I have a habit of not doing that, which is really not a good thing to do. There's a couple of different pieces that, oh my goodness. We got a couple different pieces here we got to work with. So these here are clamps that go over on top of your piece at the back, and then we'll be using this here, which will hold that in place. So before we put these on, we have to install these little brackets here. These little brackets here, they're called a spark guard. And the spark guard essentially should install, there we go, I'm gonna get the right one on the right side here, buddy. Come on, Uncle Dean, get her together. So when you install the spark guard, you'll adjust it so it's just off of the wheel, so when the sparks come around, they don't blow back out in your face. Always kind of a nice thing to have. But without it, you get a lot of sparks that are blowing at you and towards you when you're grinding metal. And you really don't want that. We'll be coming back with a wrench here and tightening everything up. But that spark guard has some adjustment to it, but you can raise up, lower down, depending upon where you want it. I like them just off of the surface. You give yourself a good 1/8 of an inch in there, should be fine. It's just to stop them sparks from flying up in your face. Now we install the second one. Same as we did the first. Bring that down to just above. And then left and right of these here. This here goes just it'll actually rest on top of your first bolt there. Comes a rest point. Oh my goodness. Now with these here guards, these clear plastic guards, once they're installed, you can turn that up, down, move it into the, I just put that on backwards. So this here fits on there. You can see where the two dimples are in it and the two links and how that kind of fits together. Now this is adjustable depending upon what you're working on, what you're doing. So you can adjust it forwards. Nope, it just kind of goes right in where it's in. Okay, so when we install these, make sure you're not covering the back over. Now these little guards can be adjusted in, out, turned up and down. You've got a whole lot of adjustments on them, which is kind of convenient. So when you're grinding, that way you don't have stuff blowing right up in your face. So there you have it. There's the install. I do need to find myself a light bulb. A 60 watt bulb put in there would be awesome. The light does not come on automatically with the switch down here. It has its own little switching knob on the back. All right, so we will plug this in now. So here it is assembled. We got our pieces together. I do like the assembly of this. I did put the one on upside down. We're gonna give that a flip now. Okay, I'm looking at this here and the way this goes together. And I'm looking at how I put it together, and I'm looking at the way this goes together, and I actually have it upside down. These actually go on with the bolts facing out, and there is a reason for that. Once I put it together, I've seen it. Now, my old grinder that I used to have years ago, a few years back, it didn't have these on it. Now, the reason you want to do this is, as you can see here, this bolt that holds your spark guard down here, this here now leans against that. So you can move this in, out, and adjust this for what you're doing, and you've actually got room to make some adjustments with it. Which is kind of convenient, but it gives you the ability to adjust that as well as to be able to move that right out of your way, you know, if you don't like it. But what it does is it literally rests on that first bolt. That's kind of a really nice idea that they've put in there.
which again allows you to have that at the distance that you need depending upon what you're doing. Like there's some stuff when you're doing things, you want that out of your way depending upon the item you're grinding. Okay, so let's give this a plug in, see what happens. Now I currently don't have anything to grind with it out here in this shop. But I'm sure it's going to do a fantastic job. So we'll turn on the switch. Woo! Listen to that wind up. Wow! That's some grinding power there, baby. Yeah, baby. Now we're talking. I like the sound of that. It's actually pretty quiet for a grinder. My old one made a lot more noise. It was much noisier. All right. So, the way this works is you can turn your bench grinder on. That also turns the light on, so that controls the light also. But you can shut your light off separately. You can turn your light on when you actually want or need light for something you're doing. And with this nice flexible tube on it, this flex head, that's going to be really cool. Again, like I said, my other one didn't have that. It does have some vibration in it, but very little. I'm very impressed with the unit. Please, if you like this, click the like button down below. Please click the subscribe button. Click on the little bell. Click all the buttons on the bottom and just click everything across there. Subscribe and this, they got everything for you. They got 3 buttons there to push. Please click all 3 buttons. We'll see you again in the next video. In the meantime, be safe, be good, most of all, behave yourself.